reusable bottle. Okay, so let's go through that. Alright, so few specific balance changes in 3.2.0. Content update 3.2.0 and the Best Theory Challenge League, or Beast Theory Challenge League, will be released at the end of the week. We are preparing to post the patch notes within a few days and have come across a few balance changes that we wanted to talk about in more detail and earlier than the patch notes, so there's time to explain and discuss them. Alrighty. As you know, we have substantially buffed most ascendancy classes and have been introducing many powerful new items. The metagame has already shifted quite a lot due to these changes, so various larger changes have had to take place elsewhere. We've called out a few in this article. Sweet. The balance changes mentioned in this article are absolutely not a conclusive list, they are just a bunch of important ones. Alright, so we're gonna get patch notes tomorrow, I think, or the day after. Zana doesn't have breach this league. This sucks, because it was fun. It was gated behind Zana 8, so the average pleb, the average redditor couldn't get this. There was a bunch of whine about it, and yeah, it just got removed for 1 or 2 leagues. It's nothing really big, not a really big deal. Eventually, it had to happen to shift it out, to put something else on Zana. The main problem is that the other leagues are shit. Like, will you put Brandus on your map? No. Will you get Zana 8 for Brandus? No. Will you get Zana 8 for Nemesis? No. It's just, Nemesis is only for Chansig Headhunters. Nobody puts Nemesis on his maps. And yeah, there's just nothing to get from Zana anymore. Maybe they will gate beyond behind Zana 8 then by getting to level 100. Because beyond is just super necessary to get to 100 nowadays. Otherwise it feels atrocious with all the monster density and all that in maps. Yes, I'm aware that there are a couple maps like Toxic Sewers, Haunted Mansion, and waste pools and stuff like that have a lot of monsters because they are small maps and they are all packed together in a small row. But other than that, the open layout maps and all the other maps are just horrible, just bad in terms of mob density. So we need beyond. That's what I'm trying to say here. So yeah, ever since we introduced the concept of different Zana levels, adding league mods to maps, we have been cycling the mods in and out. While we occasionally run some back-to-back, we often take crazy ones away to let other ones have time in the spotlight. We have decided not to run Breach as a Zana mod this league. It is still available from Sextants and still spawns naturally in 10% of maps. Also, it's similar to Abyss, which now spawns on Sextants and also spawns in 10% of maps. And can stack with Breaches. You will certainly be able to play Breaches and Abysses, just not as reliably as last league. Well, I don't give 2 fucks about the... what's it called? The Abysses, because you always have to backtrack for them. It's just... I just don't like it as a mechanic. I think it was horrible. And I'm super happy that I will only see them in 10% of my maps. Speaking of Zana, the marathon to reach Zana level 8 is shorter. From 3.2.0 onwards, as quite a lot of Zana's quests now grant additional reputation for her when they are completed. I suppose these are for the fragments. When you go through the Elder Zones and you get the fragment to get yourself the orb, you will get some XP off of it as well, and then you get to level 8 as well. I mean, I liked the Zana grind. That was another layer to the game. It wasn't mandatory, it was really good, and it was really fucking rewarding if you got it. So everybody pushed for it. It was a really good thing. It was something to go for, to work towards. It was tedious, it was hard to get it, but it was another thing in the game. Now it's out of the game, for now at least, because the rest of the leagues are kind of trash. So I think it's gonna be either Abyss in Zana 8 or the other one, Nemesis, probably. I don't know. Because I felt like beyond this, like Zana 3, the Zana level 3 for like ages, so I don't think that's gonna be gated behind Zana 8, so yeah. The main problem that GG thinks that Abyss can be comparable with Breaches. It's uncomparable. The problem with Abysses is that they backtrack, and it's horrible to backtrack in maps. It's not fun. I like that they allowed that UI that tells you if you go into a depths, that if the depths has a leech or it doesn't. That's really good, because you just enter it, see if there's no leech, then you don't clear it. What they should change to make Abysses good, they should leave it as they are, make them to always go forward, to not backtrack, right? I don't know if that's possible to code, but if it's possible, that would be nice. And on top of that, the depths, when they spawn, they should be packed with monsters. Like, for now we have, what, 10, 15 monsters total in a huge fucking layout onwards to that statue where you spawn a couple monsters, and if you have no leech, it's so underwhelming and there's nothing in it. Like, it's just, you get a couple belts and that's it. I don't like it. But whatever, let's move on. Monster rarity damage modifiers. This one is a little bit complex, but the TLDR is that your mods, like monsters deal reduced damage, now actually work properly in a lot more cases. In addition, monster damage is now scaled up to more correctly by things like map mods, and monsters are slightly more dangerous now in situations where they were intended to be. The full explanation. In Path of Exile, there are many things related to rarity of monsters. Magic, rare, unique. That increases the damage of those monsters. For example, a map mod might increase a boss damage. In addition, the rarity of a monster itself adds an intentional bonus to its damage, which is why rare monsters do more damage than magic and unique monsters do more damage than rare. Historically, these damage bonuses were always intended to be multiplicative, so that they are actually had decent effect, but were implemented as additive. Well, what I understand from this thing is that you're gonna get one shot a lot. Good luck, hardcore players. The most obvious way that this affects players is with the monsters deal reduced damage mods or skills. For example, if a monster skills has 200% damage, is dealing 300 of base, and you reduce monster damage by 10%, then it would reduce the monster's bonus to 190 rather than the 170. That would be more correct, reducing 10% of 300 total damage. The additive rules also dilated the impact of intentionally difficulty that was meant to come from a boss having a damage aura, stacking with its boss damage bonus. When stacked additively, it's harder to feel the additional damage. Alright. 3.2. Although these bonuses are multiplicative, we have done a full balance pass of reducing damage in various places to compensate for unintentional increase in danger that have come from this change. We want to stress that is intentional, that stack damage mods actually work correctly. So there are some places where monsters are more dangerous. Well, this is a little bit fucked. You know why? Because you can run into these big packs of monsters that are invulnerable. You know, it's rare, but if you map a lot per day, you get into this shit quite a lot when you run into these monsters that are invulnerable. You have two rare monsters, I think. Those are the yellow ones that are invulnerable, so you can't kill them and you can't kill the monsters around them. And now they are dealing a ton more damage, so you can get one-shotted and you are just like, what the fuck just happened? And you will not understand shit and you just die. Obviously, if you're not pushing to 100 on softcore, then it doesn't matter, because you can lose XP, you don't give a fuck. Usually, the average player don't go above level 90-93. Or if you're not playing hardcore, this doesn't really affect you. But if you do, then it's quite annoying. We can easily make a list of what does more damage than before, because it honestly depends so much on map mods and other situational bonuses. Or we can't easily, yeah, I understand that. Overall, it's hard to notice and it's unlikely to have gigantic impact, but we felt it best to pre-warn players and explain in detail what changed. We're happy to embrace making the game a little harder when fighting bosses, especially because of the continued power creep over time. Oh, this is okay. I mean, it's nice and all and dandy, but you're gonna get one-shotted. It's not gonna be like, oh, the monsters are dealing more damage, so whatever, I have to move and I have to fight them like everybody expects it. It's an ARPG game, it's a ton of damage, and you're gonna get one-shotted. That's what's gonna happen. It's not that you're gonna get chunked, you're gonna get one-shotted. Well, it is what it is. At least we know about it. It's not like we just don't know about all this shit. You know? All this, because this is what they usually do. They leave this out of the patch notes or whatever explanation, and then you just go into the game and you get just deleted, and you just, what the fuck just happened? At least we know about it. That's good. Onigoroshi is a whole lot harder to find. Needless to say, people with Onigoroshi can level up very quickly, and it's 3.1.0 spawn rate. A popular strategy is to farm the Twilight Strand for 4 hours to get the sword and then having an easier time with the playthrough. We're happy with people doing this if they want, but it's going to take longer than 4 hours. We've both made it spawn a lot less often and also added a high degree of variance to it. It can spawn at the lower levels than before, but it can swing up a lot higher than before. It's a very powerful item for leveling, so we both wanted to make it less common and also for its spawning to be less predictable, like other unique items. And have fun with 3.2.0 Uber Helock fight when you do find him. Yeah, probably they buffed it. Cheeky fuckers. That's one thing. I don't care about this thing because I just don't farm for it. If on average you needed 4 hours to find it, I'm an average PoE player. I'm nowhere near as like, I don't know, the top racers levels. I'm not even close, but I can still be in the second part of the game in 4 hours already. Like kill Malachi, get my labs done, 1 or 2 labs by 4 hours past. So it wouldn't be impactful for me to farm this anyways, and I don't feel like farming this early in the league, it's worth it. It just doesn't worth it. In 4 hours you're like way past Malachi, and just, I understand that you're gonna get a lot of clear speed from this shit, but if you really need this to get through the game, then you're gonna be slow anyways. And by the time you finish the whole 10 acts, I would probably be in the like tier 4-5 maps already. So I don't really feel like this has an impact anyway. Bisco collar nerf. Shit. The increased quantity of items from slain normal enemies has been reduced from 50 to 100% down to 35-50. This sounds like a huge nerf, but with the way that diminishing returns work for item quantity, it's not as bad as it sounds. Yeah, probably not. Even after this change, Bisco Scar is still the best magic find amulet if you're taking advantage of its normal monster condition properly. For example, using sextants to add breaches or abysses, the amulet is still comparable to the ascetic for regular gameplay, even if you're not taking advantage of it properly. There's a thing now. It's not worth it anymore. You rather get like a spell damage, crit multi, crit chance, life amulet, and you're gonna kill the monster so much faster that you will actually gain more quantity by clearing faster than you would otherwise get from the amulet. So I don't see myself playing with Biscos anymore, because you can get so much damage on amulets that it's gonna outscale the Biscos, in my opinion. Yeah, for example, if you get like an amulet that is all across tier 1 life, damage mods, and you can even get some resist on it if you need it. It's so much better than Biscos. Or you just get the Shaper one that gives you 10 quantity. It's gonna be around the same level as Biscos overall. Yeah, so you're way better with the Shaper amulet, honestly, that gives you like 10 quantity and gives you some offensive or defensive stats than just plain Biscos. No, I don't see me and myself playing with Biscos anymore. But yeah, it was kinda needed, but not really. It was... Okay, so here's the thing. With Biscos in the game, they couldn't increase mob density, they couldn't increase drop rates, they were limited to what they can do as developers. So this, in the first place, getting into the main game was a big mistake. Now getting rid of it, it feels horrible because it's a chase unique. After the nerfs to the drop rate last league, it became a chase unique, right? It was like 15 to 20x. It was obviously a chase unique, which is great to work towards something, right? But then Reddit started to bitch about, and then they just nerfed it to almost to the ground. At least they didn't fucking shit on it. It's still usable, but I think there are way better solutions than this. So yeah, I'm somewhat okay with this. I don't really care. It was fun to play with Biscos. I played with it as until it was really good. For me, what is bad about this nerf is that one less chase unique. So that's the only problem I have with this nerf. Otherwise, it's just whatever. Okay, new sextant rules. You'll see the following change in the patch notes. There's no limit to the number of sextants you can apply to your atlas. The base maximum is 1, but this limit is increased by completing bonus objectives and Zana's quest, up to an absolute maximum of 5. So you need to do some quests and stuff. I suppose it's the same that you get XP, that you get more XP for Zana than what they said here. Where was it? Yeah. Speaking of Zana, the marathon to reach level 8 Zana is shorter, as quite a lot of Zana quests now grant additional reputation. Alright. So maybe not, whatever. So if you complete the objectives, I think this is related to the orbs that you get from those fragments after killing Elder Zone maps that have the circle on it. So you can get up to 5 sextants. Adding sextants above this limit removes the oldest one. Existing atlas will keep their sextants. Through applying new sextants will still remove the oldest one. You can see which map has the oldest sextants by hovering over the new sextants display on it. Oh, that's awesome. Preventing the sextant spam and extreme sextant blocking that was prevalent in the last couple of leagues was one of the most requested change requests we received this year. We also agreed with it because the amount of abuse we were seeing was getting ridiculous. By stacking sextants correctly, rolling the right mods on the map and applying the right Zana mod, some players were able to receive 30 times. That's a little bit much. It's 10 times kinda the item yield of the equivalent white map, and that was solo. Well, let me tell you something, Iggy. Playing in a group was even crazier. While a handful of players are going to be disappointed that they can't make insane wealth anymore, everyone else will be on much fairer playing field this league. Okay, so they can't make insane, well, insane wealth anymore. It's gonna be the same exact shit. Redditors and plebs who couldn't make money before, they will be broke now onwards, and those who had the crazy wealth before, they will find other solutions to make that so the Reddit plebs can cry about something else. So this won't change. This won't change. We will not be in an even playing field onwards. It's not gonna happen. And about the sextants, I mean, I personally don't like sextants. The problem is that Gigi doesn't seem to realize that they forced us into the sextant blocking shenanigans, because the monster density in maps is atrocious. It's horrible. It's bad. You have to go 2 screens to find a pack of monsters. This is the problem, not the sextants. I would be fine if the sextants wouldn't exist, but we would have like decent monster density in maps. Yeah, so for me, sextants were adding monsters to the map to feel like I'm playing an ARPG and I'm killing monsters, not just going through empty screens to find a pack of monsters, then go through empty screens and then find some monsters again. I'm aware that some of the maps are okay. They are not good. They are okay, like Toxic Sewers, Haunted Mansions. These have quite nice density, but it's still a pain in the ass to get to level 100. So for those who want to get their characters to level 100, not necessarily the ones that are pushing for 100, like the top 10 or whatever. I'm never pushing to top 10, but I like to push some of my characters to 100, and I want that to be fun. Currently with the XP nerfs, full sextants and playing only Toxic Sewers and Haunted Mansions, it was already a pain in the ass. Now it's gonna be even horrible. Not to mention, I had Beyond on every single of my maps, and it took like fucking, I don't know, too much. It wasn't fun. So I guess I'm not gonna go 200 anymore. I'm gonna be like pushing to like 90 and then just switch and until I get bored. 1 month in, I will just quit the league probably. Well, whatever. Now you can have 5 sextants. That means you can still block a little bit and just use 1 sextant on the map, probably. That's what's gonna happen. In terms of the sextant price, I saw a bunch of people saying that sextant's gonna be cheaper. I don't know about that, because you need way more sextants now to roll decent stuff on your maps, right? So people will chew through way more sextants than they did before. So those who are pushing to like 100, they need way more sextants than they needed before. So people like Q-Dog, for example, or me, or I don't know, Execution, or anybody who can generate a ton of wealth, they will still buy a buttload of sextants, right? Even more than they did before. The only thing that's changing is that the number of sextants needed to block your shit. You won't block anymore, you just have to use sextants and roll. And it's gonna be harder to get what you want. You wanna use a lot more sextants. And I still think that, maybe not in the beginning. In the beginning, people will be like, oh, sextants are shit, I don't need them anymore. So they'll probably be cheap at the beginning. But once people start to realize, get to, I don't know, Zizaren's stream or any other streamer that has knowledge about PoE and they know that sextants are still good, they will be like, oh shit, sextants are still good, what? Let me buy some. And people will start to buy them and they're just gonna be super expensive still. That's what I predict. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think sextants are gonna be expensive still. Like in the middle of the league. And full patch notes later this week. Those are the topics we wanted to discuss today. There's a lot to chew on, and we're always being keen to see what you think. We believe that these changes will help create a much fairer league with many more options for players. you'll be able to see the full list of balance changes in the patch notes within a few days. I mean, what they are trying to achieve is to bring the casuals closer to those who are playing like a lot, which is not normal. Like, if I'm playing 16 hours a day and somebody plays 4 hours a day, they should never come close to me. It's an ARPG game. It's about getting a good wealth and buying the expensive stuff. And I don't know. I don't feel like the person who plays 4 hours should be in the same level with me. So I don't know why Gigi is trying to do this shit. It's just not. I don't think that's good for the game either. Because at one point we're gonna get to a level where everybody can achieve like everything in the first 3 days, and then they're just killing the game. There is nothing to strive towards. Like, maybe there are some things that I can achieve in like 1 week. The average pleb has to do it for 3-4 weeks, and he plays for a month at least, right? But if we both can achieve it in like 3-4 days, it's gonna become Diablo 3 when you play it for 3 days and then you just, I'm bored, dude. I need another game. That's what's gonna happen if they keep pushing this, evening the playing field, you know? That's just not good. That's what D3 did, and it's, let me tell you, you play it 3 days and then you're just like, I need another game. This is boring. That's what's gonna happen here. Okay, those are my my thoughts about these changes. And we're waiting for the patch notes. I'm gonna do a review of that when they come out. Bye bye. Okay.